I'm going to present you with a radical idea. But this radical idea is your only chance to be at peace. So you definitely have to consider, at least make an opinion, if what I'm about to say makes sense or doesn't make any sense. The idea goes like this. Think about everything that's happening in your life, everything you have, everything the way it is, every object in your life, in the most ordinary objects you may find in your experience. The idea is that everything makes sense or nothing makes sense. You may think, okay, what do you mean? Well, imagine that you're listening to music and you hear the sound of the drum kick. The drum kick is what the drummer is making with the feet, like a boom, boom, boom. Imagine that you can only hear that part of the music. You hear this boom, 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 boom. Apparently you will hear that if you will, that's exactly what our mind is doing. It's like isolating that sound and thinking of it as something separated. It wouldn't make any sense. But if you listen to all the instruments at the same time, then everything's a beautiful orchestrated experience of music. You see? So the radical idea for you today is to have to decide if your life is music or if it's chaos. There's nothing in between. You cannot say, yeah, that part of the music makes sense, that other part of the music doesn't make sense. No. It is music or it is not music. If you have one music playing one side and let's say the drummer will be just doing anything else, you will have just chaos. It just doesn't matter. You see what I mean? It is all or nothing. Of your experience is oneness or is chaos. It's separated. It doesn't make any sense. Implications of living a separated life where you may think, oh yeah, this thing happened to me this morning and makes a lot of sense to me, but this other thing just happened to me now, but that doesn't make any sense to me. It's not something that I want. It's not something that well, that cannot be true. Your mind is lying to you. Or everything is an orchestrated experience of things happening in the context of you, or nothing makes sense. And it's all chaos. You have to make your choice. But making that choice is different between suffering and living a joyful, spontaneous, interesting life. And it's not that I'm saying, obviously, that your life is going to be exactly the way that you want. No, because you know what? When you say you're talking about your limited experience of a body and a mind, and you're way more than that. You're everything. Otherwise, there wouldn't be no chance of God existing or anything, any order existing if you were limited and separated in a body. So it is all or nothing. Everything is one or nothing is one. If nothing is one, then you will see that nothing makes sense. Because when you get one element out of attunement with the others, then the whole thing goes out and it's not music. It's just sound, it's just noise. So can you consider in your life, I want you to consider every situation you're living. Your job, the people you see, the people that are in your life, the problems and challenges that are in your life, and the blessings and things that are beautiful that are in your life. I want you to consider all of them pieces of a puzzle, and they are interconnected. You may not see the correlation. You may not understand their purpose, but you have to make a decision. There is purpose or there is no purpose. If there is purpose, life exists. Order exists, which is pretty evident because you're alive right now. And again, in a biological level, all the cells in your body are clapped together because some sort of order. The planets are moving around. The sun is coming out every morning because there's some sort of order. There's an order to everything, to society, to everything. There's order. So if that order is true, then chaos cannot be true. And this can be very liberating because the part that we're missing, we're always living something in between. Our mind is telling us, no, this makes sense, but this doesn't make any sense. There is suffering in the world, and there is, I know. But the only way of seeing your experience, and now let's not go talking about the problems in the world or anybody else's experience. We're talking about you here, right now. That's the only thing you can take care of, really. And you have to decide, if you see that the world has order, there is God, there is love, or you have to think, no, there's nothing that makes order. That will be existential stress. You don't know what's going to happen to you tomorrow, but in a sense of unsafety. You feel in danger all the time because, I don't know, maybe something bad happens to you later. Or maybe someone you love, they just leave you. You see, living in a world that doesn't make any sense, that all the pieces are not orchestrated together, it is literally living in stress and fear and panic. So your own choice, and it's free to you to make this choice, is to decide that everything that is happening in your life, it is actually a part of a bigger structure. The problem is your brain cannot understand this structure. Your brain is a limited part in your body, and it can only compute a certain amount of data. That's why you shouldn't really fully trust what the voice in your head is telling you. But you can experience connectedness with everything. So you may not know what's going to happen tomorrow, but you can feel. You can relax into the background of everything and let everything come and go in your life and see there is actually an order. You may not be able to pinpoint the order or to manipulate it in any way, but you know that order is life affirming. And you can rest, because even the smallest, just a pen. I was picking an object, today's a pen. You may think, why this pen in my life? Just look around you and find objects. Yeah, there's a meaning. This simple experience of a random object in your life makes sense as any news on the radio about a world crisis or anything that could happen to you or the way your body is. There's nothing that is out of order ever. We may not understand it, and we have a struggle with it, and that's okay. And this will be certainly very hard for many people to consider that some bad things that are happening to you are for a reason. But if you think about it, there's no other way. If you think like that, or you live in chaos, and living in chaos is living in fear, and you cannot experience peace if you don't trust. And the only way of trusting is by opening the scope of your attention and let every element of your experience be just an expression of this totality. And as abstract as this may seem, I'm saying that don't consider anything that's happening in your life ever is random. Everything has a meaning. Everything has a purpose. And not seeing this is missing the whole thing. Because even when you think, yeah, I have my little micro universe of my life where I control things, but there is the rest of the world has nothing to do with me. Well, that cannot happen. The same ordering principle that you call your life, that you call your love for the things that you have or the things that you want to achieve, it is actually the same principle that happens for everything and for everyone all the time. There's only love. And you experience love or you experience fear. For most people, they don't really even purely experience love. We just get these reflections towards like, yeah, I love to travel. I love to have more money. I love to, that's just reflection. That's out there. That is pure external perception. You're not really seeing, not even your own reaction to it. So if you relax back and open your scope of attention, and you see everything coming and going, all these little elements of life. And I want to make an emphasis again, as I've been making all these last days, on the routinary, ordinary, non-interesting stuff in your life, like a pen, like your sweater, like why a car passes by in the street. Everything is connected like pieces of a puzzle. That means that the universe and everything has a purpose. You may not understand it, but you don't need to understand it. to feel love and peace, which is ultimately the only thing you want in life. It's not that important for you that life goes in a certain way. What you really want is to get a deep sense of peace, love, and appreciation. That's what you really want, regardless if your dream is that or your dream is that. The only thing you really want deep in the bottom of your heart is to live a life that is peaceful and enjoyable and spontaneous. Happiness, we call it. That's the only thing you want. All that, the rest, the thing that you think you want, that you think you need, are actually just toys, speculations, ideas in your mind. It doesn't matter if you don't actually feel that peace. And the only way you can feel peace in your life is by understanding that nothing makes sense or everything makes sense. And I obviously suggest you, what happens if you choose that everything makes sense? For example, today, whatever happens for the rest of the day for you, try to think, everything makes sense or nothing makes sense. There is only love or there is only fear. There is nothing in between. Because the idea that it can be something in between, this makes sense, this doesn't make sense, is what is driving you crazy. And I know you certainly don't want to live in fear, so you're left with an option to let go of your ideas about everything and explore your life as spontaneous script that it writes itself. You may not understand why and how, but you can. The only way you can understand it is by trusting, by understanding everything that happens in your day as isolated experiences of a bigger puzzle, of a piece of music. Everything, not just your body and your mind is me and the rest is the world. No, everything. This guy talking to you in a video. There's no randomness ever. Everything just fits in the right time, in the right place. So that our minds sometimes tell us, no, that's not, I don't want this shouldn't happen. But that's your mind talking. Wow, but what does your mind know about planets, universes? Not what even scientists know about beyond Big Bang. Or it's just speculations, just ideas in the mind. It can be useful, though. I think science is great. But for a practical sense, sometimes all these things in our head, judging this moment and this thing, it just, they're putting you down into suffering and fear. And how it happens? Because your mind thinks that there are things that make sense and other things that doesn't make sense. I hope this video makes sense. And you see it landing the right time in your life to understand that all that you're experiencing is perfect by nature. Your mind will tell you, no. But what happens if you just don't fully take as the truth whatever crosses your mind? What if you just open yourself to experience every moment without knowing, just letting everything be as it is? And only then you can see this pattern. And then you will feel the release, like, from being the burden of being in a survival existence where you had to fight against the world for tomorrow to get the stuff that you need and all that. Suddenly you go into you can enjoy your life. You may do whatever you want, you feel inspired to do. Take the responsibility to take care of other people and yourself. I'm not saying stay there like a rock, but the difference in quality of whatever you experience will be radically different, because you will understand that whatever happens, maybe it's not in your personal plan, but your personal plan is just a speculation based on a very little amount of information. So just don't give it so much credit. And you're left with the option. And you know what? Write down in the comments if you actually do choose to see this structure or attempting to trust of the structure, or if you choose chaos. I don't know. I don't think there's much of a free choice in there. So what happens if you just let go of your controlling of the world and just enjoy whatever happens as it happens without judging it. Isn't it peaceful? Isn't it loving? Yeah, you may find your mind distracting you and telling you this, that. But don't worry, that's just a momentum. It will run out on itself. That's why I suggest to sit and meditate. Make time for it. Sit and explore your experience directly. And eventually, you're going to realize that how is it possible that you ever thought there was a second chance? There is only peace underlying your experience of a person.